Guess who's coming to 5 cast?
The piss out of me.
Ooh, they put it on you.
Oh, yeah. So that's 21.
So, hold on. 2, did you hear the transition in this voice? Yeah, I just got rolled up and everything. They beat me. So that was 21. You know what I'm saying?
So I signed for 3 years probation, right?
Okay, got it. Great lawyer.
Huh?
No lawyer?
No,
man.
Garbage lawyer. I should have went with the first lawyer. He's like, oh, man, no, you know what we'll tell him? Like, you couldn't hear the police over the muffler or the motorcycle and this and that. We'll get you off right now. He goes, that's to be about $1,500.
Right.
Like, and this other guy's like, well, you know what? I'll put up a good fight for you. It'll be about $800. I'm like, $800.
Take the 800 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned that lesson too.
Right.
Anyhow, 3 years probation. In that time period, I had gotten with literally first date was like right after getting out of jail for being arrested. So I'm covered in road rash. I'm all fucked up. This girl is like a dime, you know. From Rio de Janeiro, just
come on now, Rio.
Couple years older than me, just stacked, you know. And so I was in, you know, like.
Did she know you from before, or she just loved the road rash?
She knew me because she worked at a bar, like a local bar.
Okay,
and
got
so
it.
she thought that I was good looking,
right?
And that worked out well for me.
Okay,
so whatever. Anyhow, we date, love of my life, right? Like it's all this, but always accused me of cheating, always that kind of stuff. Just pretty sure she was probably doing it. I don't know. She worked in the clubs and stuff.
Right.
You never know. And then she thought that I was cheating, and I wasn't. But she caught me in a situation that didn't look good, and I can admit that.
Right.
I wasn't actually doing anything wrong, but it didn't look good. She hit me with her car. So I'm in the apartment complex, and she's in this little blue Honda Civic with South Park stickers on the back, right?
Right.
She's just revving her engine at me. I'm like, stop. What are you doing? Chill out, you know?
Right.
Little Civic just squealing. Hits me. I flip over the car. And that was the end of that relationship.
I would hope so. I would definitely hope so.
So the girl that was in this situation that didn't look good, I was, you know, obviously I'm hurting. I'm like, do you want to get a drink? You know? And she's got some big old fresh new fake titties. And all. Right. She worked in the clubs too, you know? And, you know, keep in mind, I'm like 22.
Right.
I'm breaching 22, you know? And, no, I was 22. And she's like, yeah, sure. So we have a drink. We dated for 6 days and just got drunk, you know? Drunk, sex, that was it. And decided to get married. So we got married.
Hold up. Let me hit the button on you.
I don't know. The clapping one probably isn't the right one for this.
No, it's really like a funny thing with me. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I normally say shout out to something, or if it's something that's like, yo, that's a transition right there. I got to recap half a second, right? So he flips over a car after getting hit by it, right? And it's funny because I be watching my son's face sometimes. He's funny because when you said it, he just was like, like what? Hey, it might be a way to meet a girl, man. You know what I'm saying? You'll get hit by a car by your other girl, and then boom.
I don't recommend.
But you tumbled off the car.
Date this girl.
6 days, you said?
6 days.
6 days
at the courthouse.
And you was at the courthouse.
Yeah, stupid.
But man, you was young.
It was actually quite a bit of fun for about 8 months.
Right.
But then she got into drugs. That's a non-negotiable for me.
Right.
I don't mess with that. I will not tolerate it.
Right.
But she got into that. And then another friend of mine, he was in it, and his parents kicked him out. I was like, you can stay in the apartment with us.
Right.
Of course, they started doing it together. They start fucking, you know.
Right.
That just goes to that. So at this point, I've been on probation for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I've done all my community service. I've paid all the fines and everything. My probation officer didn't like me. She was quite the dyke.
Okay.
You know, wasn't a fan of me. But she violates me over some paperwork bullshit. Whatever. I go to my next appointment, and a sheriff picks me up, and that's the end of it. You know, they put me in Pam Lynchner State for 6 months.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. So over an evading arrest charge, you know, kind of bullshit. But I kind of needed a reset at that point. You know what I mean? So I try and take that as a good thing. I turned 24 in there.
Okay.
All right. But that was a hell of a learning moment, and definitely as I get older, that short prison stint was
right.
I learned a lot. You know,
what's some of the things you did learn? If you could, like some of the just really things that really stick out.
Stay in your own fucking lane. You know, or as they would say it, this is a 4-seater. You know,
right?
There's not room for you.
Yeah.
Get out of here. It was a learning experience, one way or the other. And it was something I knew that I never wanted to go back to.
Okay,
and even in that short 6 months, I'd see people leave and come right back. You know what I mean?
Right.
They called it less than a gram, Pam, because it was mainly a drug prison. You know what I mean?
Got
but
it.
everything in there, half of the unit was TDC and the other half was TDCJ. Right?
Okay.
So this half was a 2-year max, right? So everybody had an out date. So it was just a fight unit.
Right.
Nobody's looking for a good time. They didn't.
Oh, okay. Got it.
A lot of
gladiators.
Yeah.
Straight gladiators.
A lot of that.
But did you pick up your love for fighting?
I wouldn't say I picked
at
up
that
a
time.
love for it
At
there,
that time, period.
But at 3 months, this dude was doing shooting up in our corner. We kind of had a quiet corner,
right?
And I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" And it's a giant guy.
Right.
I called him Tin Man, and so he decided that we were going to fight, and I was losing that fight,
right?
But I was peppering him up, So he was all dinged up, but I ate an uppercut from him, and it was like I've never been knocked out by a punch,
right?
But where the star just go, and I ate that and it picked me up off the ground. I kept peppering him, and then eventually he was like, all right, enough, stop. So the whole tank viewed that as a win on me, and I didn't fight again. So
Right.
the last 3 months were kind of peaceful.
Okay.
I wrote a book. I read a bunch of books.
Right.
Spent the time doing that. Kind of came out at 24 with a new mindset, and that quickly fucked up.
See, I be loving your transitions, man. I'm telling you, because you'll be here, and you be like, yeah, okay, then this right here.
Well, I'd been working out every day in there.
Right.
I was fit. I was just like everything that I was completely sober, no alcohol, like just whatever. So I got out. I'm like, I'm gonna stick like that. Da da da.
Right.
Well, I'm a little bit older, and immediately I became like the tattoo guy. I left Humble. I went to the downtown area, that whole scene, and before you know it, man, I'm like, their clubs have bottle service waiting for me and shit like that.
What?
Yeah. And at that age, that's real cool. Like
Right.
that's real cool. And I mean, you couldn't pay me to go do that shit right now. But
Right.
at that age.
But at that time period,
Yeah. Anyhow, 25, and this one club that I was like a sponsored thing to it.
Right.
Nightclub. They had swings over the bar. So these like long swings, and girls in bikinis or topless or whatever would be swinging on these, right? And I'm just like, I want that one, And
You have that one.
now I got my daughter,
I gotta hit the button on him, baby. I'm telling you, see, too, I knew this was gonna be a good one right here. You know what I'm saying?
So 4 months of dating her.
What? Hold up, Roddy, man. Do you hear this too? This man was all of 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? Look, he's at bars where he's got swings. I ain't never been to a bar that had a swing over to that on counter. You know what I'm saying? He telling me stuff I've never even heard of. And he has and the pickings. Okay, no, I want that right. Let me get number 2 on aisle 3.
That is exactly how that went.
Okay, so you catch it on the swing, you bring her on home. That's what that's what you said.
Well, sort of. It took a minute, but it worked out that way.
Right.
Anyhow, after 4 months of dating, I was just like, "Hey, look, I want to have a kid. Like I don't want to be super old.
Right.
I want to be young for this." I was like, "So either we're gonna do this, or we're just kind of not.
Right.
Like, where are we at?
Right.
And she was like, "Okay,
Okay.
So that was quick.
Mm.
That happened. Anyways, I got my daughter, and my daughter's the greatest blessing in my life.
So you still doing tattoos, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
during that time period or whatever.
Yeah.
So let me take you forward a little bit. So the day your daughter was born, what impact did that make? you know, because some people have different. I know I have different impacts when I'm watching my kids come out.
2 answers to that. One, greatest day of my life, greatest blessing ever.
Right.
I also made a really bad decision. So, she's born.
Right.
I got talked into marrying her mom literally 3 weeks before.
Okay.
All right. I didn't want to get married again. That wasn't the plan. But I've been racing motocross at that point, and I was in the middle of a series.
Okay.
So 2 days after she was born was a race, and I was at top of points for our series.
Right.
And so it's early in the morning, you know, and I'm like, look, I'm going to go do this race. I'm going to come back. We'll be all good.
Right.
You know, famous last words. I'm cooking, man. I'm in first. I'm on my 4th moto of the day. I'm moving, and I try and triple into this set of doubles, and I come just a little bit short. So the back wheel catches. I kind of come down this side of the bike, and I grip the gas, and that shoots me off the face of the next landing. So my left leg gets caught between the forks and the frame. All right, so I spiral shattered my left femur. So it broke like this, like that.
Like a twist.
Punched through, severed my femoral artery. Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah, I get life flighted from there to Memorial Hermann in the Med Center, and obviously, you know, that's that. So when her mom gets released from maternity ward in Humble,
Right.
then she's got to come down there because I'm in critical. You know? So I don't really remember much of that. I woke up to them putting me in traction. And you know what that means?
Yeah.
Like they're straightening out my leg because my leg was bent behind me. So I wake up to a guy with a press drill going into my shin, you know, to anchor this hook to chain my leg out, right? And that was terrifying. And then I'm out again, you know. Anyways, back to terrifying. The wake up, you know, count backwards from 100, you know, and then surgery, and then come out of surgery. That's terrifying because it's, you know, that surgery, they basically just beat the shit out of you. So I have a titanium femur.
Okay. So you the real Terminator.
Oh, it gets worse. Yeah. But the problem with that was by severing the femoral artery, it didn't sever completely. It was like 70%.
Right.
So they were able to repair it, and they were able to, you know, get me going. But I was having blood flow issues. So, you know, I put her mom through quite a bit at that point in time, and I admit that. Like, I was having miniature heart attacks every day.
Oh man.
So I mean, you want pain? That's painful, you know. But it was every day, and I couldn't walk well, and I just opened a business, so it was my first tattoo shop, right?
Oh, where were you at then?
In Humble.
In Humble, okay.
Back there, and you got to go to work, you know. So I didn't take the painkillers. I didn't do anything. I had a walker. I dragged my ass to work, and you know, sat myself down on a stool and kept tattooing. You know, it was what it was. But the blood flow issues fucked up my dick.
Yeah, because I know where the blood comes from, how it comes. That's how it runs. If people don't understand that, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was sexually dysfunctional.
Man.
Just period. You know, there's nothing. Nothing. You know, I asked doctors, they're like, oh, well, you know, you just get on some Viagra. I'm like, doesn't work. Don't know. You know? So our mom started cheating. Just, you know, that was quick. Which eventually I found those gas station dick pills.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was with a friend of mine. He's passed away now, but we were at one of those sex shops or like Cindy's or something like that. And I'm like, I wonder if that works. And it did. So all of a sudden, you know, I found the closest thing I could fucking.
Right.
It was just a back and forth battle between me and her mom. And it was just, you know, it was a quick divorce.
Right.
You know? So that's.
Man. And you was all, at that age, you were.
It was scary because, you know, like.
You was young. You was in your 20s.
But
man.
I just had my daughter, you know, and I
Right.
fucked up.
Right.
I fucked up. I shouldn't have went to that race, you know.
Man.
Now, granted, the things with her mom and I would have went the same way.
Right.
You know, but that was just a bad move on my part.
Right.
You know, so I'll, you know, that if there's ever a regret,
that's the one thing. That's
be
one of the things right
I
there.
shouldn't have done that. But you know, I was young. I was 26. You know.
Okay, so you had your business in Humble. The difference in things. I like that though. Still, the difference of things.
A lot of people view anarchy as if it's this awful thing, or they relate
Right.
this January 6th bullshit to it, or whatever, and it's just not the fact. It's literally every man for himself,
Right.
And the non-necessity of government.
Right.
So I've always been pretty outspoken about that, and that was it.
Hey, it is what it is.
Tried to make a brand out of it, and I actually did really well at first, but then of course divorce hit and all this, and it just that place ended up failing.
Okay.
I swore I would never own a business again. I was like, I'm never, the stress, 14-hour days, just going home and just crying in my bathroom. I just, you got divorce going on, a baby
business,
girl, and all this.
And business, and
So
the things
much.
that come with business, and people think having things is just a simple thing.
No,
know, people think that. Oh no, you got a big business. You doing it, like, bro.
You own a
know,
business,
you
you
don't know
must
what
be rich.
comes with this, baby.
And you think tattooing for 8 hours a day is it? I'm up till 4 o'clock every morning, working on the computer, working on a brand, working on social media, working on all those things, making sure that this shit survives.
Right. It's the stuff that people don't see.
No.
They see hours.
100 hours.
They see the shop is open from this time to this time. That's what they see. They don't see everything. The back shop is what makes any front shop work.
Right.
That's the thing about it. Okay, so time goes by from the time to that shop. You close that one down right there. So during that time period between there and getting this one started right here, what was Ronnie's mind at?
There's a lot in between there. So I'm just walking good again.
Okay, right.
The business had failed. It was that I had gone back to Magic Needle at this point in time.
Got it. How did it feel going back there?
Like failure, but
Right.
but whatever.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Bills got to get paid.
Right.
I had a Harley, and my daughter's mom was fucking this cop, and he just
Had it out for you.
he's pretty crooked, right? So I'm coming down 1960, and spotlights in my eyes, and I'm on the Harley, right?
Right.
At 11 o'clock at night, and I realize it's him.
Right.
He just decides to swipe me off the road, So
Are you serious?
yeah, I catch the culvert pipe in the ditch, and it just tacos my bike, right? And I flip and I hit, I can't remember the name of the street, but I hit the road and then I flip back into the ditch. And where I hit my femur again. Right? But it didn't break because it's titanium, right?
Right.
So it blew out my left knee and it whip fractured my tib and fib and blew out my ankle, right? And broke parts of my instep. So multiple surgeries after that, trying to walk again, all that, fucking rough.
What?
Yeah. So recovering from that, like I said, multiple surgeries, in and out of the hospital, sepsis, infections, like all kinds of stuff, right? Anyhow, whatever. Still tattooing, 2 days after my daughter's second birthday, my daughter's mom runs off with some guy. You know what I mean? Like permanently. So at this point, we have been,
Right.
we probably broke up and got back together like 15 times.
Right.
Under the illusion that I could have this family, right? Thinking that was what you have to
Right.
keep it together. Like that's the way, just thinking it would work. But, ultimately some things just don't work. Anyhow, so she runs off. So now I got this little baby girl and I'm trying to figure out what to do. Well, I can't keep her in a tattoo shop.
How old was you at the time?
2.
2.
It's 2 days after her second birthday.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So I had to quit Magic Needle. And that was where me and this owner came to odds. I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to do, man? I got to figure something out. So I rented this loft downtown that was like 800 square feet and 800 square feet. It was like an L. So I made the front half like a tattoo
Okay.
shop and the back half living.
Right.
And so me and her did that for quite a while.
Man.
And those were good times. Just me and her. It was
Right.
good. Her mom would pop in once in a while and take her, but, once in a while.
Right.
And whatever. Anyway, she met her last husband, and that's when she decided she wanted her back. Keep in mind, we've been doing this for the better part of 3 years,
Right.
and I refused. I was young. I hadn't filed anything with the courts because I didn't know anything. I was just trying to raise a baby girl.
Right.
So I refused to give her back. Well, they hold me in contempt. They throw me in jail for 30 days, and then they force back child support for the time she was gone. The system, man. The system is not a fan of dads. Anyhow, I get out of jail from that, right? scrambling to cover up a month of being, no income.
Right.
Get super suicidal, like real bad again. And that was when I found MMA.
Damn.
So I called 2 close friends, still very close friends today. I still train with them today. And I was like, I'm screaming, 38 in my mouth, ready to go. And they're like, just show up here. I'm screaming, just like I want out of my head so bad,
Right.
Show up on the mats and just get the fucking shit beat out of me first day. You know what I mean? You think you can fight until you go into one of those places.
Exactly.
And it was just so humbling. And I was like, I need this every day. And that came to every damn day. Problem with that is I put that in front of everything other than my daughter. So business declined completely. I focused 100% on fighting. And if I didn't have my daughter and I wasn't fighting, I was drinking.
Right.
Something had to numb somehow. The fighting would work during the day, the drinking would work at night. It was hard years, but the jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai saved my life, hands down.
Man.
So I've been doing that still. I still do that, very much for the last 10 years.
So during the course of this, right? You still had your love for cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even after your motorcycle, did you get back to another motorcycle, or you just kind of took a break after that?
It's kind of funny. My wife now, she's a good woman, very different from the women of the past. She's almost too good. It's kind of fucking annoying. But I did really well. We'll have to jump back to that.
No problem.
Did really well in stock market stuff in 2021 and like cryptocurrencies and all that. Had an influx of money. So, I paid off a bunch of stuff and I bought her dream ride. I bought myself one. And then I had a neighbor that had a CBR 1000 and I was like jealous. And we were looking at some land and stuff like that, and then freshly paved roads, and I was like, see that's freedom. I was like, a ride on that's decompressing. Spend your Sunday going on that on a beautiful day, and she's like, absolutely not, no motorcycles. And she's a doctor that specializes in head and neck injury.
Oh, okay, got it.
So she
sees it.
Yeah, and she's just worries about everything. She's like, no motorcycles. And I'm like, whatever. Anyways, this neighbor posts something about riding the forest, and I'm like, man, damn, that'd be nice. And she's just kind of, she's like, babe, if you got to do it, just do it. I'm like,
what?
Straight to Mancuso, like I didn't skip a beat and bought a Ducati.
Ooh,
yeah. And I barely rode it. It was what it was. But then I had an 18-wheeler pass me on the freeway coming to work, and it just shut me down. I don't know, like
for real?
Just flashbacks. It just shut me down, like cold sweats. I couldn't even see straight. I had to pull over, and I was just like shaking. So I don't know. I guess just my mind was there's enough damage from whatever wrecks in the past.
Right.
So I sold it. I sold it right back to the dealership.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So it's cool. I achieved it. It was a dream bike.
Right.
Had it. Cool.
Man, okay, so I'm gonna rewind the tape a little bit. So you were talking about cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. So what made you get into that world, or get into that, and how did you get into it?
All right, easy explanation. Fast forward a lot of years.
Okay,
right? My daughter's older, everything like that. We're super close. Everything's going all right. I had built a good relationship with her mom's last husband.
Okay, got it.
He screwed up, and I beat him up. All right, this is early on, right?
Right.
Which got him into MMA.
Okay, got it.
All right, so then we were able to build a relationship of training together.
Okay.
And so we had I didn't even deal with her mom anymore. I dealt with him. You know what I mean? I didn't even talk to her mom. It worked out great. It was great, and him and I had built a good relationship. Anyway, so that's where that stood at the moment. And then I met my wife, right? She went to high school 1 year that a guy I worked with at the time. Now, at this point, I was back downtown working at a place called Workhorse. It doesn't exist anymore,
right?
Due to COVID. But I was working there. I shared an office with a guy that we were friends at the time. Well, the 1 year that he went to high school, she went to that high school. So her wanting a tattoo, that was the only person she knew. So she shows up, and it's late. It's like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and she looks good. And I'm just sitting there, and she's holding a coffee cup, and I was just being flirty, and I'm like, coffee at 8 p.m., huh? I was like, that's bold, She's like, this is wine. I'm like,
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll get along. Anyways, he did a little basic white girl tattoo on her, and because she's literally the whitest person I've ever met in my life. She's Lebanese,
Right.
but she is like the definition of pasty white. Like,
right.
She's that. But anyways, he tags her in a picture on Instagram. So I slide in, and that's that. Long story short, we end up getting married and all that. In that period of time, my daughter's mom is having an affair. So that whole marriage splits up. She ends up marrying the affair. All right. He was married too. When his wife found out, she stabbed him 8 times in the chest with a ice pack. He's retired Special Forces.
Right.
But anyways, so this all divides. COVID hits. All right. So that hits, and obviously tattoo shops are considered non-essential.
Right.
Okay. So I go into like full-blown rebellion mode.
Damn that.
Yeah. Where I worked, it was like it was a collective to where nobody was the boss. Nobody was, everybody just split the bills of this shop, and that's just the way it worked.
Got it.
We had a pretty good thing going on.
11 minutes on that? Okay, no problem.
And so, the lady that worked there, she's reading the news, and she just believes in everything she sees.
Right.
Liberal idiot. And, she's like, no, we're shutting down. I'm like, no, we're not. Like, I'm not stopping working. Like, whatever. Anyways, we all come to odds. They buy me out of my portion. It's done, And so I hit up my apprentice from, 13 years prior. His name's Eric Nickstead, and he owns a tattoo shop in Crosby, Texas.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, hey, dude, you want to ride this out or what? And he's like, let's fucking do it. We stayed open every single day of the lockdown. And we were loud about it on the internet. Everybody was like, you got to stop this, man. You're going to get in trouble. And the fire marshals came in, fat motherfucker in a plate carrier and rifle and everything. Like, you got to shut down. And we both were just, get the fuck out, And we worked every damn day. And it was, for both of us, it was the best business decision that either one of us made, And it was a whole bunch of bullshit. It was a whole bunch of threats and a bunch of crap and people policing and whatnot. Anyways, but in that period of time, obviously, I'm only working and I'm only home. We're not going out. We're not doing anything. So I took that time to read a lot.
Right.
So I read most of my wife's college textbooks about psychology and whatnot. I started researching the stock market, started figuring all that out, and slowly just started chunking like $100, $150 every day or two at cryptocurrency,
right?
Dogecoin in specific,
right?
And then it boomed, and so I'd probably only put like $3,000 or $4,000 into it, and that turned into a lot of money.
Damn.
And then our mutual friend, he made some money on it, and then we started talking back and forth, and then he, was like, hey man, there's this one stock, I think it's going to do it, man. Like, have you learned about options trading? I'm like, I don't know much about it. It's sketchy, but so we started researching, we started learning stuff together,
right?
And then we both did it, and then we boomed in that, and then it was just
there it was.
There it was.
Yeah. Man. So and that's what I'm talking about. It's the thing when people will take the time and invest in themselves,
right?
And the outcome can be so great.
100%.
And a lot of people don't get that. That's what I tell you all the time too. When you invest in yourself, when you self-learn, you self-teach, I'm telling you.
Did you call him 2?
2, yeah. So he's G2, so we just call him 2 for short.
I like that.
Just so he has his own identity.
My granny was the only person I was ever close with in my family, and that's what she called me, was 2.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah.
Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. See how this energy thing is flowing? All right, so if you don't mind, well, it's 2 things I want, and then I ain't going to forget this right here. You say you want to bring that up. One, man, no, that's probably going to be second. Yeah, no, that's probably first, man. And I just seen it because I seen it on your Instagram or whatever, right, bro? Your shed garage thing.
My what garage?
Shed.
Oh, yeah.
Where the car's at, right there. The cars, man. I like the cars. I like your cars. I seen you had a Viper before,
So the Viper is what paid for the garage.
and I saw that because I seen you pulling out because you
Yeah.
talked to the guy or whatever, and he's like, hey,
Yeah.
he wanted, he actually commented about it.
During this money stuff, when it first started booming, the Dogecoin, I found a dream car. It was a 1987 Buick Grand National. I don't know if you're familiar with those old G bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a T-type. I just say Grand National because nobody knows what a T-type is. And it's caffeine brown, that original color, the metallic. It was all hyped up. The owner had passed away. His wife was selling off parts of the estate.
Right.
And so I told my wife, I was like, we're buying it. The irony here is that the car was in Johnson City, Texas. And if you want to jump back to what I told you, that's where my mom left me on the side of the highway. So I drove through there, met with this widow, had a good day with her, bought this car and brought it home. So it's kind of iconic moment for me.
Right.
Anyhow, then the money kept booming, right? And so I was like, I really want a Viper, My wife said, absolutely not. There's a Viper? No, there's not. You need to do something smart with this money. I was like, I'll do smart things, all right? I found this Viper, and she's like, absolutely not. At the same time, she had found her dream car on eBay, right?
Right.
And so, being strategic, she's like, well, this is one. I'm like, well, we can't be doing that right now. We can't, I bought the car, and so it was in Dallas, and I got it all with a bow and all this shit shipped and everything like that.
Right.
So I told her I have a 87 Trans Am as well, and I told her it was an engine for that, and I was like, come out, you got to film this engine. It's like a Nelson racing engine, like you got to see this. And
right.
Anyways, gate comes down. It's her dream ride, but I've been playing it off all along. And she's like, oh my God, freaks out. She's like, I can't believe it. It's whatever. She's freaking out. She's sitting in it. And she's,
right.
And I'm like, hey, I bought a Viper. She's like, you. I'm like, she's like, whatever. I don't care.
Right.
Cool. Anyways, childhood bucket list. My generation, I feel like a Viper GTS coupe, that was the poster on the wall.
It was for everybody though.
For everybody. Right? That was that dream car. I got it. Most impractical fucking thing I've ever had in my life.
Gas guzzler, right?
3 miles a gallon. It was stupid fast. It was a death rocket. I barely fit in it.
Right.
But I achieved that goal. Cool. Very impractical. The thing broke a lot. It was what it was. But I put out a post saying, hey, trade for a garage.
Right.
So I got my garage on
man, that was smart though.
On our forever property.
That was smart though. That was smart because that garage is gonna last a lot longer than that damn Viper would.
Oh yeah. And
be used more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's for sure.
I've got a handful of classic cars in there that are all appreciating in value.
Listen, ain't nothing but that's money they sitting on top of her right there.
Yeah.
That's nothing but money right there.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. So when did this establishment come about? And that time is not a big deal because we're gonna pop another card in. So don't feel like you gotta rush it.
I was
Let me know when we about 1 minute. Then we just swap the card.
I had already been in the works of this building previous to COVID.
Okay.
My purpose with this is what routes back to this. Okay. As I said, I'm in my 24th year of tattooing. There is a stigma put on it, like of negativity, of harshness. Now the thing is most properties will not lease to a tattoo shop because of that stigma.
Right.
So it's hard to find a place that's not next door to a smoke shop or a sex shop or any of that.
That's true.
That's not a family environment.
That is so true.
I wanted something different. I wanted to have a family feel, clean, just nice, somewhere that my daughter can be in and out, that the kids, like the kids from the salon next door and everything else, they're in here.
Right.
I wanted a different vibe.
Right.
So this building actually happened a couple years prior to this opening.
Okay.
And I'm friends with the owner of the building.
Got it.
And there's a whole long story to that of how that built, but it basically through jiu-jitsu. And I was able to lock in this space during COVID. So I was able to get the construction started during them. The only thing that slowed me down was the permitting process because the county was taking forever.
Okay, got it.
But I built this place specifically to do exactly what you're talking about, that this clothing line is trying to do.
Right.
You know, to bridge that gap.
Right.
You know, I want people to walk in and I want them to feel like they're in a spa. You know, like, you know, they come in. The girl that works in the front, she's been my student at Muay Thai since she was 14 years old. She's 21 now. She's like a second daughter to me. She greets them. Hey, how are you? Have a seat. Would you like a bottle of water? Would you like some coffee? Would you like anything? You know,
Beautiful.
Make it a nice experience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the key right there, experience.
Right. There's no scummy stuff in this building. You know, it's all, you know, physical health and whatnot. So I just wanted a different vibe. You know, I'm very professional about how I act.
Right.
You know, I will not tolerate any bullshit.
Well,
as far as drugs.
your staff won't listen. You got your receptionists will whoop everybody ass when they walk in here.
She saw
easily.
She's
you
blue
know what
belt
I'm saying?
jiu-jitsu. She's tough.
You know that's ooh.
I don't know if you read what my front door says.
Nah, no.
It says face coverings not allowed, and it says if you pose an unconstitutional threat, you will be met with constitutional force.
Ooh, come on now.
Yeah. There's been a lot of attempts, a lot of places, by allowing this nonsense.
Right.
You know, it causes danger for people.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time? When could you walk into a bank with a mask?
I know, crazy, right?
Right. You know, then it became required. You know, we're a cash business. You know, I'm not trying to.
Right.
You don't get to walk in here and conceal your identity. I have no idea how sketchy you are.
I know that's right.
Like, so I just don't allow it. You know, but that's just another part of creating a very specific environment.
Right.
I could have succumbed to certain things that a lot of other tattoo shops did. I chose not to.
Right.
But that shaped my clientele.
And that's the key. You knew who you were trying to attract.
Correct.
You know, and a lot of people just want to attract anything.
Yeah.
And you'll get anything with attracting anything.
That's absolutely correct. I have several standards I hold within this place that
Right.
I also hold within my home, you know?
Right.
And outside of these doors, man, people can do whatever the hell they want. I don't care.
Right.
You know, that's your life. You're a free human being. You have the right to do as you choose.
Right.
Just don't harm others. You know?
That's it. It's as simple as that, right?
But inside these doors and inside the doors of my home, there are certain things that are not tolerated.
And that's everybody's right.
Right.
That's everybody has the right to run their
Everybody
business
wants
the way they want to run their business. You know?
Everybody wants to argue it. I'm like, you know what?
Right.
Why don't you go spend your life savings in your business, you know, and you build your own place and you do it
Exactly.
however you want.
Exactly.
You know, you want to let whatever kind of stuff in, let it in.
Exactly.
I don't.
And it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
You know. Another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is why do you think you have a love for? Well, to me, you seem like you have a loyalty to yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can say the loyalty to people too.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I use with loyalty is this right here. I say a person has to be loyal to themselves first before they can be loyal to anybody else.
Yeah.
And so just throughout your story, right, the one thing that I felt that you held true to you was family.
Yeah.
Throughout your whole story, you know what I'm saying? Another thing that I found in your story was that, you know, I salute you, you know, never succumbing to drugs and, you know what I'm saying, those things like that. Because, one, people would typically think that's what people would do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't drink or smoke or anything, right? But the environment I came up in, you know, it was there. You get what I'm saying? And people, even my mother, she's shocked that I'm tripping. How you've never smoked or done drugs or nothing.
Right.
You know, and I think it is sometimes within yourself. You know, I think we can make a decision within ourselves of what we will and will not do, no matter if our peers or whoever's around us is doing them.
There's been a handful of people in my life that is what I consider family, and that I will happily step in front of a bullet for.
Right.
You know, and I am extremely loyal to those people.
Right.
As far as blood, you know.
Yeah, it don't always work that way.
No.
You know.
No, not at all. But my daughter,
right.
You know, obviously.
Oh yeah, because you know that's you there.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's your shaping.
But yeah, I mean, there's a girl, I call her my sister. She's not my blood at all.
Right.
But she's been my closest friend for the better part of 2 decades. And never sexual, never nothing.
Right.
You know? That was a learning curve that had to happen for my wife, you know, like I was like, this is a non-negotiable, you know, like you have to understand. This girl was the best man at my wedding. I was the maid of honor in hers. You know, I make a Nice maid of honor.
Right, ain't nothing wrong with that right there. I can't wait to do that. It's a couple people I want to do it too.
Yeah.
You know, and I probably was with him before.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for him, you know.
But, you know, same thing. Just, you know, their loyalty is very important.
I think it's the thing. And I think, you know, even what you said, you know, some people don't believe, like, I know a lot of females, like a lot of females. And just because I know a lot of females don't mean I've been with all of them either. Yeah. I'm just cool with them. Yeah. And it's really just that. And the same thing you say, like, with your wife. Some people's men had to understand, like, nah, gee, that's my boy.
I do believe it's rare. I do believe it's rare for two attractive people of opposite sex to be friends without ever having that.
Right.
It's very rare.
It is a rare thing. It's rare.
But it is possible.
Right.
You know, and I understand the jealousies that can go along with it.
Right.
With that situation, you know, but, you know, sometimes there's a person that God puts in their life that's just meant to be there.
And it's what it is. It's just like you, man. Like, you know, looking at your story, brother, it's rare. Okay? It's rare, man. Everything that you went through, you know, even up to this point right here, bro, that's rare.
Yeah. That
you came through that and are here with a, you know what I'm saying, doing what you're doing.
Right.
Doing great things, raising a beautiful daughter. You know what I'm saying? Raising a conscious daughter. You know, that's rare, brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's possible, but it's rare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, one, I salute you, man.
Thank you.
I salute you because you're a girl dad.
Yeah.
I'm a girl dad. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm a boy dad too, but I'm a girl dad. You know, because I had daughters first. So
it's fun.
A lot of people, they do not really probably take that time to just really enjoy it and really cultivate it. You know, and I watch you. You know, when you put on your post. You know what I'm saying? You're throwing your daughter up there and it's proud moments and, you know, when y'all driving it, you know, those moments, man. Yeah. Those moments she's going to remember forever. She's going to cherish it forever.
Same out of you, you know?
She's going to cherish that, brother. Yeah. She's going to talk to her kids later on and be like, yeah, man, when I got my truck with my dad, I drove it back and I was driving and, you know, he spent the time we driving and we doing MMA together and, you know, like, brother, that's so powerful, man. Yeah. It's stuff that probably... It's things that I didn't experience,
right?
And those are things that I made sure to experience with my kids, right? Because I didn't experience those things. I didn't have those things. I didn't have that love like that, you know. So, and sometimes it can probably seem overbearing, you know what I'm saying? Because I tell my son out of the day, I say, you know, before I walk away from him, I say, bro, I love you. You know I love you, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. I tell him this because I want him to understand that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, your dad. Because I want you to, whenever you have kids, tell your son you love him.
Right.
Maybe that's something I wanted, so maybe that's why I do it so much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, so it ain't trying to make this no Hashi-Tashi moment, but it's reality though, man. Absolutely. So, and it's really, like I said, it's my salute to you, man.
Thank you.
It's really my salute to you, man.
I believe that the number one thing that a lot of men lack, but they need more than anything else, is purpose. You know, and we have that. You know.
Yeah.
You know, some men put that purpose in the wrong place, you know, and it drives them down wrong paths.
It does.
I've been there. You know? But having my daughter, I realized that all the rest of this bullshit doesn't matter. That's what matters.
That's what matters, right?
That's what matters. So I got to work hard to make sure that she has a good life.
Ooh, say that one more time so he can hear it.
I got to work hard to make sure that she has a good life.
You heard it too? I know, because you get sick of hearing it. Because I tell him, bro, I ain't doing none of this for me. No. I've done what I need to do for me already. Yeah. Every day is for them.
Yeah.
Every day, brother.
I could work half as much and have a small apartment
and
a nice truck and be loaded.
Doing
it. But I'd be a piece of shit.
Right.
Not taking care of my responsibilities.
There you go.
So instead, I work 20 times as much to make sure that eventually, hopefully, I can take a step back. I don't know if I ever will.
Right.
But that she can be comfortable and she can have the opportunities to achieve her dreams and not have to do it in the way I did.
Right.
You know, and not have the nightmares. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I know you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. So, what is the plan for here? Like, what is your long range plan? You know what I'm saying? I see you got your long range calendar right here. As soon as I walked in here, I said, I felt like I was in the war room because that's what we have. Yeah. This right here is what we have. Yeah. You know, and in this field. Yeah. you know, so that's what people don't understand. I got people use vision boards, right?
Right.
And that's cool, whatever.
Right.
But I guess I've been in a system to our vision board is multi and long-term calendars. And we'll have calendars, which is really our vision board at the end of the day, because it's telling us what we plan to do, our execution, how we're going to do it, you know.
I don't have a vision board per se, but what I will say is during 2020 when the lockdown happened and I kind of went into that, you know, fight mode, you know, with everything, I got very uninterested in anything fictional. You know what I'm saying? So now I spend my time, I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't watch any sitcoms or anything like that. Once in a while I watch like some stand-up comedy because I need to laugh. But for the most part, I only watch either motivational stuff or other wealthy people's ideas, their movements. I try and figure out how to manicure the best way for me to keep moving. So that's kind of my vision board. It's just, you know, what do they say? They say, you know, you want to be a crackhead or a meth head or whatever, hang out with 4 meth heads. You'll be the 5th. You know, you want to be a billionaire, hang out with 4 billionaires. You'll be the 5th. You know, so that's what I'm trying to accomplish. Long term for this place, I just want a comfortable environment. I'm happy this place just pays for itself. I'm not greedy on that. You know, like I just want to keep all my income and have a comfortable, stress-free work environment. Therefore, the people that work here, you know, they're all good, trustworthy people. They're all talented, you know, but they all have an understanding and they all, you know, kind of view along the same line. You know, hold the same standards. They're all family people, you know, all very much so. I've had a handful of people come through here that were just, you know, day 2, day 3, I'm like,
gotta go.
You know, won't have it, you know. So that's really all I want. I really just want to, you know, keep what I do. I make enough on just my work, you know, to invest and to do the other things and do all that. So I just want the location to be a family-friendly, welcoming environment that's clean, that doesn't have the stigma on it that our industry is just flooded with.
Definitely.
For so long, with decent reason. You know, it did relate back to a lot of stuff. When I started in this, you know, like, it's funny, I have a person that was very successful in their apprenticeship, and I just pumped him to the floor early. But you know, I'm this me now. The apprenticeship I went through, you know, call a tattoo machine a tattoo gun. Just call it that once, and you were scrubbing Harleys with a toothbrush for a week. You know what I mean? Like, I was telling him is we didn't bring our girls around the tattoo shop, because the mentors would fuck them. That's just the way it was. That was just standard practice for a couple of reasons. One, because they were dirty old fucks, you know. But 2, if your girl's up here distracting you, you're not focused on making money. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. So I'm telling him, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm just Dad Ronnie now. I'm like, you have it so easy, dude. Because what I went through to get into this was a totally different world, you know, 20 plus years ago than it is now.
Definitely.
So,
and sometimes change is good. You know what I'm
I just want
you know,
something different for it. I don't want that stigma, and I don't. If I were to hold those old standards, then I would just be just perpetuating the same cycle of the stigma against tattooing. So, you know, I'm hoping to change something.
I'm telling you, the stigma is not that mindset. You don't get that at all, man. From the outside to walking inside, it just doesn't even, you know, and it's not a bad thing. It doesn't even feel like a tattoo shop. It feels like a salon type, nice type situation. That's what I get when I walk in here.
And, you know, some people still want the old style. They still want that feel, and I get that, and that's cool. You know, that walk in, the flash on the walls, all that, that's cool. You know, like I do come from those roots. And I respect it. However, it's just not what I want for my future. And my daughter's future.
And the good thing is you know that. So it's one of those things. You know how it is, you know, been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? I understand. You know, I've done that, but it's not what we're going to do.
I did the casino shops in Vegas. I did it all. I've done every bit of it, you know. I got some crazy stories.
Man.
But I don't want crazy stories anymore.
I know that's right. We just want the right story. All right, so last thing I'll ask you, and I ask this of everybody. After listening to yourself and everything, what did you learn today?
What I learned today?
What did you learn today?
One, I've never done this, like a podcast.
For real?
I've never had the headsets on.
So I got to hit this button because you know what? This is a 5Cast exclusive. 5Cast is always getting the exclusive. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't ask the question is, have you ever done this before? I don't ask that question. Okay, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just exciting to be around another entrepreneur that is taking a different angle into many different fields, you know, and have your son come along and have him working with you, doing all this. That's cool. That's
thank you.
It's impressive to see, you know, and you know, obviously there's racial stigmas, there's tattoo stigmas, there's all kinds of things, and obviously you're breaking the mold.
You know what? And I'm gonna tell you something, and this slapped me. And I got to be honest, it slapped me, and I told some of my mentors. I said, you know what? I said, I looked at my show, right? And it started just because COVID hit and I mentor a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people, different people, races, coaches, everything, you know, and I've always done that. And they were just like, oh, man, y'all just start this podcast and talk about trucking or something, you know. And I said, podcast? I said, man, I said, I'm too private because I'm a very private person. Right. And I did it. So my conference room, I said, you know, I'll just make it a podcast studio. So boom, built it to a podcast. And I had one of my friends, this guy named Renee. Looks like he's a white guy, but he's Mexican. I didn't know he was Mexican. I thought he was a white guy till he, you know. But he I don't say he does it on purpose, but I don't know. You know, I didn't know. You know, I know his name was Renee, but
doesn't have to matter.
And so and it don't, you know, and so it's So I wanted him to be on my first show. Right. And he was on my first show, man. We had a great time on the show. A lot of people, all my shows were always live. Okay. So that was the difference. And so that's why I don't do them live anymore. You know, I said, you know, I'm not doing live shows anymore because it's too much work in it to do it. I said, I'd rather have a good product, recorded it, you know what I'm saying, make sure everybody's cool with, you know, everything, and then just put it out. But anyway, so I did it, and it kind of became popular. Well, in my regular life, I have so many different friends all over the world. But I looked at what happened with my show. I started looking. I said, man, I'm only having black people on this. I said, what's going on? You know, because they were coming to the studio. Right. It's not that I wouldn't have anybody to come, but just whether they would come or not, you know. And I was down in Bel Air before. So so I had this, I said, you know what, no. I said, we're going like the way my life actually looks. Right. I'm doing it how my life actually looks. Good. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's not, you know, I'm from North Carolina. I'm a country boy from North Carolina, man. You know, so I understand the stereotypes with different things and people, but stuff ain't never bothered me. Right. You know, then I was in the military for 25 years, so you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm that guy. So
your brothers bleed the same.
It's all the same, you know, and I don't let people's hang-ups bother me. Right. Even, you know, even from the racial side, I'll say this real quick. I had this guy named Wagner. Okay. I was 22 in the military, and Wagner, every day, he was from Wyoming. Every day I would go in, and I'm aviation, so it's like me and one more brother, and everybody else is not a brother, right? Right. So they didn't feel like we should be there anyway, because during that time, they just felt like we didn't belong working on aircraft. Right. You know, whatever, that's their problem. So Wagner, I would speak to him every day. Hey, what's up, Wag? How you doing? He would never speak to me. Every day I still speak to him, because it's just where I come from. We speak. You know, I'm not going to give you the same thing, man, whatever. I still speak to him. Mm-hmm. So after about 4 months, Wagner came to me. He said, why do you speak to me every day? I said, I speak to everybody. Right. I said, I treat everybody the same, Wagner. Right. Whether they want to treat me the same anyway. Right. I said, there's a lesson in that. Now I'm 22 and I'm saying this to him. He's a couple years older than me. The next day he comes to me. He said, you know what, man? You know, we call everybody our last names. He said, he said, I went home last night, and I called home last night because of what you said to me. Mm-hmm. He said, and I had a problem. And he said, it wasn't a problem with you. He said, where I'm from, there's nobody that looks like you. Right. I've never even went to school with anybody look like you. Right. And he said, and the first time I ever seen anybody was at basic training. He said, so I think I was just comfortable in what I grew up with, and who I hang with is everybody looks like me. Right. He said, and you challenged that. Became one of my best friends.
So it wasn't necessarily racism. It was a social.
That's all it was.
Misunderstanding.
And so I look at it, and some people, that's what happens. Right. Their social circle only becomes that because it's just what they were used to. Yeah. And then nothing was ever introduced. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I couldn't look at it as, oh, you got a problem with me. Right. I could look at that. Shit, that's a 100% suburb kid right there. You get me? You've only grew up in the best areas. You get what I'm saying? Right. The best areas. Right. And everybody. Right. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what I wanted. Yeah. I didn't want him to have this social
Right.
issue with nothing.
Right.
He's Led Zeppelin. That's him.
Right.
And that's what he like. I like that. Megadeth. He's, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. See, I went back. I went there when you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing. Stop playing with me. Don't mess with me, man. I go there. That's why I went to check tables.
Some of the environments I came up in, I've got every reason to be prejudiced that
And
way.
especially Aurora.
Huh?
Aurora. Aurora is kind of rough.
It's rough.
It's real rough.
It's rough. That and then the short prison time.
Because it has to be a social divide in there.
Oh man,
Yeah.
That was a majority black unit. Majority black, some Hispanic, barely white. But most of the fights I got in were with whites.
Right.
Because I would not join
You
anything.
wouldn't be that.
Right. However, it's amazing how fast a person can become institutionalized.
Right.
And I did walk out of there with a very racial distaste.
Right.
With a lot of good reason.
Understandably.
Right. That's what it is in those places. It is white versus black.
Right.
There is no in between. You know what I mean?
I know.
And some of the early fights were because there was a young kid, he was black, and him and I kind of clicked together real quick in the beginning.
Right.
And that turned into a real problem for him first. And then that turned him having to come after me.
Right.
Turned into all this stuff, So I walked out of there with this world view that was just so wrong.
Right.
And
So what made you even and I'm just asking, okay with doing this?
what do you mean?
This interview today?
Man, I don't give a fuck what color you are.
Right. You know what I'm saying? No, I was just asking only because the conversation would just happen right there. And that's good.
Yeah.
It's good is what I'm saying.
All I see,
I like that.
All I see is a strong entrepreneur with a story that's a good father. They want to talk to me about my story,
Right.
and we should just have a lot more of that.
We will.
Yeah.
And we will.
Yeah.
And then that's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way too? 100%. I know that's right. You know what I'm saying? That's my little square dude right there. Love him to death. He's square as hell, but I love the death out of him. And I'm proud. I even put it on one of his posts. I put a post about him on my management page, right? And it was a video of him. Because I talk about him all the time. I just talk about how proud I am.
All right.
People might say, L7 and all this stuff like that. I was like, you know what? To be that, you have to be a confident person to be that way, the way he is. You have to be a confident person. He is, and he'll whoop somebody's ass too, because he got them arts on him too.
The world doesn't.
So he does the same.
The world
thing.
doesn't run without every time.
Right.
There's a place for everybody.
Right.
And obviously a lot of people that'll come against me on some of my viewpoints on some of the current sexual issues in the world.
Right.
Like, well, what about them? I agree. There's a place for them too.
Right.
So that's fine. It's just not my business.
Hey, it's how it is, and people run their business the way they want to run their business.
Yeah, but you need smart, tech savvy, intelligent people that are square or whatever. You need tough people that are willing to get dirty.
Yeah.
You need all of it. So
that's it, man. Yeah. Hey, well, I appreciate you, Ronnie.
I appreciate you.
I really do appreciate you, brother. And don't think this is it. Because I don't.
I feel like there's a
I don't
future.
meet people like I said, the people on my show, they're on my show for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's nobody that hasn't been on my show that we're not cool.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's ongoing.
Yeah.
It's ongoing. My thing is I want people to know about you here. Because you're a good man. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just big on this good man thing, man. I just am. Probably because I didn't see it as a young kid. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have it. So when you become, I guess when you feel like you develop it,
Right.
and you get that way, you like, yo. I complimented Johnny the other day.
Yeah.
I had to send him a message. It was a detail to the point
Right.
about him.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because one, there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of men out here. I'm gonna say it like that. There's not a lot of men out here.
It's a dying
And
breed.
so when people have to, when you see them, man, you got to grab them and be like, hey, man, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. I'm glad I know you there. I grab another one over here and we make sure. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we have to be able to do this thing, man.
Absolutely.
We have to be able to do this thing. So I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank
Real
you.
talk,
Yeah, It's a pleasure.
And if you can tell everybody your Instagram here and your location address so they can know where to come find you.
It's Kumor Tattoo Company in Conroe, Texas. Instagram is 2064 FM 3083 Road West in Conroe, Texas, 77304. Instagram is at Ronnie Byerly or at Ronnie Byerly Tattoos or at Kimura Tattoo Company. Kimura is Kimura. Kimura, just to educate anybody that doesn't know, is a specific arm lock in jiu-jitsu. It also means land of the trees, and we're in the middle of the forest. So I branded it around that. The K in my logo is, it's supposed to look kind of like a Japanese kanji, but it's actually a diagram of a Kimura being done.
Oh, shit. So. See, everything is deep with him. You know what I'm saying? In a good way. Everything is deep in a good way. It means it's thoughtful. He thinks it out. Most artists are that way anyway. Y'all think, you know what I'm saying? And you do what you do on that piece right there. All right. Hey, I'll holler at y'all next time. All right, I'm going to holler at you.